Dave, did you get a good night's sleep?
I did.
Yeah. Everybody else is working. You're home. So.
That's napping in the press box.
Well,
David Moore, Dallas Morning News. I'm sure you want to move on from your missing appendix, but just how is your stamina and your
Good.
health? Did you notice a difference during the game at any point? Were you a little more
No,
tired?
no, I felt great. No, I really did. I felt normal. So just a little sore. I think it'll be, hopefully a couple more days.
And just kind of back on the game, you talked before going into this stretch about one thing you really value about it is its playoff experiences without the consequences of if you lose. Can you talk about that a little bit more, how you take that approach and what it means to have that going into the postseason?
I mean, every season I've been a part of, obviously there's a path, and the path is always under construction. I mean, it's not who you play, it's when you play them. We all know that because of, the challenges every season, lays out for you. But these type of games, especially, in this current season, we've had a number of games where, we've won by a decisive margin. So to play in these kind of games, I think is a great preparation for playoff football because, I mean, these are going to be juggernauts. I mean, we've been talking about Buffalo, all morning. I mean, this is going to be a great environment to play in, outdoors, northern climate, all those things. So I think this is what you need as part of that, opportunity to win and grow. And that's where I think if, things go right and you're able to, get the momentum, grab those chunks of confidence that come with a good division win as we had last night. This is an opportunity to go win and grow as a football team, and that's going to be very important. It's always important in December. So there's confidence that comes in these games, and I'm looking forward to the competition of it.
Piggybacking on that, just winning on the road in the playoffs, that's what you're talking about.
No, I'm just talking about winning. I don't care where it is. You have to have that mindset. We want to play at home. I mean, why wouldn't we? I mean, the crowd last night, I don't know if I've ever heard AT&T Stadium that loud. That's an unbelievable, we feel, an advantage for us. So the only way to get to that point is to take care of what's in front of you, and we all know what the score is. So, but yeah, you have to be, your team has to be able to be built to go win anywhere, and that's the reality of this league.
Michael Gallup, his snaps production has dropped. You're talking about how he stayed engaged and certainly came out and had to have a big game last night.
Yeah, I think Michael's getting better. I think that, this, some of the things that we've adjusted is, Michael being a veteran player here, just as far as the route running, I think you see our younger players have adjusted to it pretty seamlessly because they haven't done it a different way. So I love the way Michael's playing. So I think it's just like anything. Frankly, he's going to get one of the game balls, for his performance against Philadelphia. But same man every day. Great work ethic. Excellent teammate, and obviously I think he runs the red line as well as anybody I've coached.
Did they forget to give you a game ball?
Yeah, they did. It's all right. We're good.
Todd Archer for ESPN. Hankins, what he's dealing with, how long he could miss it?
He has an ankle sprain. I haven't received the wrap up yet, but I know when I went through there earlier, he was down there getting treatment.
And where is Mozzie in his development? And you have Carl Davis on the practice squad as well. Is it kind of why you kind of brought Davis in just in case something were to happen to have another big body?
Oh, definitely. I think it's just like anything. The roster development and how many individuals you need in each area. Yeah, that's definitely part of it, and we understand that run defense is something that people will always challenge because I feel we're exceptional in the area of pass rush. So yeah, we that's all part of the outlook what's in front of us.
How about with Mozzie and where you think he is?
Yeah, I think Mozzie's getting better. I think talking about him and Luke. I think they're at that point now. You can see they're not thinking, they're playing. Their urgency, and I think those are all normal processes that rookies go through.
John
Michaud of The Athletic. With Brandon Aubrey, if you can take yourself back to the start of training camp till now, what do you think is the biggest reason he's been able to be successful?
Well, a number of things. There's so much there. I think like a lot of things in life, especially in the game of football, you think of first impressions, and I know my first impression of Brandon was, the first time I had a chance to stand behind him, and just, the foot speed, but, the way the ball, comes off his foot. So, I mean, you can see right away, his ability to strike the football was, top notch. And now working with him, and I think that's, we saw that early in camp, and it was part of the reason why we made that decision early. It's, hey, let's give him all the reps. I mean, he has a chance to, to be an outstanding kicker, because you never really know until you get in there and go through it with him. But so his approach, I think his emotional maturity. He's the same person every day as far as the way he approaches it. And to be honest with you, it's an outstanding battery. The battery of your punter, your snapper, your holder. All that plays into this. So, and John Fossil does a tremendous job. I mean, if you see the connection and how these guys work, I mean, that's a very, very close-knit group. And the compliment for John, it's been like it every year, regardless of who the kicker's been. So, I think John is top-notch, in that subculture that he creates around special teams. So, and the reason I'm making a big point of that, you see the consistency, because the consistency in everything you do, I think, is a part of his efficiency. And he, you go out there and as you watch him in his prep, his swing and the tempo into the kick is super consistent. So, and I think just like anything, I purposely early in the season gave him kicks that he may have thought that he wasn't going to get, because you have to do that. I learned that with Mason Crosby back in my early tenure as a head coach. I think it was the opening day. He had to hit the game winner as a rookie, and it's important to take those opportunities. We did that early in the season. So now in a big game like last night, I think that's another huge step for him to go out there and swing. And he's an unprecedented groove, but there's just so much there, and just been so impressed with everything he's done.
Saudi's the athletic. Mike, in Green Bay, it was your 5th year that you won the Super Bowl, and it's your fourth year here now. I'm curious, what are the progressions to building a program? I think in both situations you inherited a quarterback. And a lot of times coaches like to go get their own or whatever, but you inherited one. And what's the steps been to building a program that you've seen, and from what you did in Green Bay to now?
I think, like anything, when you walk in the door, you got to clearly understand and recognize the landscape and the resources that you have. And I think both Green Bay and Dallas, I can remember standing, up in my initial press conference, and I was so damn impressive as a first-time head coach. I mean, I'm sure, but the one question they asked me about a rebuilding job, and I said, you don't rebuild at places like this, and it's the same thing in Dallas. Now we had a unique season in 2020 with the pandemic and everything that went on there. So, my point is, I think you have to get in there and get going, and get the football culture the way you want it. You clearly get your program in place. The way you train your team is probably one of the most important components of being a head coach. The structure for your assistants and all those things that play into it. So, and I think clearly coming out of 21 is when I feel like, okay, here we go. This is what it's starting to look like, and I think we definitely had a lot of moments in 22 that way too. So I programs are either getting better or they're taking a step back, and I think we've done just a very consistent job of staying focused on what wins, and try to cut out the waste, because it's and another thing that's totally different here than my last opportunity was the travel, the night games, the national games. No, we play a lot of night national games here, but you have different stressors here. So how does the stressors of this unique opportunity affect the training of the football team, which can affect the efficiency and the consistency. So I just think we've done better each year as a coaching staff, as a support staff, making sure that we're protecting the most important component of this operation. That's the locker room.
And you just talked about Fossil, you talked about Quinn, Schottenheimer, guys like that. You've had great coordinators, assistants in Green Bay. Is it a process to learn how to delegate and make sure that everyone, like I'm sure as a head coach, you're over everything, but delegate and let everyone kind of do their jobs?
Definitely. I think, when just like anything, there's generational approaches to this. And I think, in the 90s, when, the coordinator did everything, and everybody kind of, had to coach off of that. And I think, when you talk about the word development and growth, what's your plan? I mean, what is it, a PowerPoint presentation? How do you develop young coaches? How do you develop your coach? How do you create opportunities for your coaching staff to be better? I mean, how are you going to develop these younger players? What's it look like? How's that defined? Now put that in a schedule. Oh yeah, by the way, you have less time today than you did with your players 10 years ago. So it's just all those little things, the details of that, and that's why every organization's a little different. The landscape's a little different. The climate of around it, the wonderful media operation we have here is a tremendous resource that we have. And so, I mean, you got all those things factor in, because anything that touches the football team, anything that touches the locker room, you got to be in tune with that, because, what these men do for a living is not normal, and I'm just talking about the football component of it. So, how do you protect their energy, their space, so that they're the best that they can be? Because let's be honest, if it's not good at home, it's not going to be great at work. So, you just got to be in tune with all those things.
Knew it.
Mike, you've won 3 straight years, 10-plus games here. You spoke about your culture, what you want, but can you take me back to when you got here? What was the climate, and how do you get to these consistency that you have in 10 straight wins?
Yeah, definitely. I think really the climate when I first got here was unknown. I think just, let's think about the first 2 months on the job. I mean, you were getting ready to go on spring break. I mean, I was on spring break. I was in Los Angeles, and when also, things really flipped, so we went into a pandemic. So I really didn't get the full understanding of, what it is to be a Dallas Cowboy and all the things that work internally. And then really 21 was, it was abbreviated some, it wasn't, wasn't. So I think just the understanding of how it all fits together. I mean, and it's not always the same. The profiles of how you want your team to look. Those things, those conversations with the personnel department. Who are you schematically? What's your approach? I mean, you're going to be a jack of all trades, master of none. I mean, all those conversations. That's what a good plan looks like. Having those things laid out. I've done it this way. This worked. This hasn't worked. This is the mistake I've made in 2011. This is why I don't think there's usually 2 ways to do it in this league. And that's the beauty of the game of football. Sometimes 3. So which way are you going to do it? And oh yeah, by the way, everybody that's involved, they got to believe in it too. So you got to give them. You got to build the belief. The belief turns into action. Then comes from that is confidence. And at the end of the day, it's about winning.
Nick.
Nick Harris, DallasCowboys.com. The confidence was certainly high in the locker room last night. I know you guys put an emphasis on not getting too high, not getting too low, but where would you say the confidence is today walking around the facility and after a big win like that last night?
Oh, I think we're where we need to be. It's definitely high, and it should be. Is it the highest of the year? Probably so. But I think the reality of it was a fun ride home. I think we all had great moments with our family and friends, and but it's midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. So the reality is you wake up in Buffalo. Buffalo's an uncommon opponent. There's a lot of new faces on tape for even me personally. So players that I've never competed against, and that's just the reality of our league. So you get to turn the page. We played the way we needed to play last night. There's a lot of good out of it, and there's some things that weren't so great either. So as we met with the players today, there's clear understanding. I mean, offensively, the passing game wasn't where it needed to be. So we need to be better in spots. So that was emphasized today. The details of it, that'll be part of our game plan, self-scout. That when we integrate with the players on Wednesday. So I mean, it's all about staying focused on winning and how do we improve.
I know there's an emphasis on running your own race, but knowing that you might need a little bit of help getting the division or conference, how do you kind of juggle both of those things while also keep your
Nothing to
focus?
juggle. I mean, because it's, you can't control it with the other, the other aspects of it. We need to beat Buffalo. And then, we're standing here with 11 wins, then we'll look around. And I think it'll be a little more clear, what needs to be done.
Michael Gallup in Dallas Morning News. You guys had some early tough moments on the road this season, but you guys have come a long way since then as a team, as an offense. Where do you feel like, as a road team, you guys are today, and what comes with playing on the road as you get to the stretch?
Well, I think like anything, you got to play to your productivity. I was thrilled with this stretch, three games at home. I think we did an excellent job of taking advantage of that. And, from that comes, we're relatively healthy. So we're ready to go back out on the road. I think that's been a positive, last 3 weeks. But yeah, I mean, winning on the road is different, just cadence, I think our cadence improvement at home took another step last night, so, okay, now let's talk about our road cadence. So, we need to be better than we've been. So I think just all those little things, but this team is built to travel, and then complimentary football is how you win. Complimentary football, you win anywhere. You win in a parking lot, on the road, at home, and that's the vision. That's why I talk about it. That's why it's so important. First thing I look at when I look at the statistics is I look at time of possession and I look at the turnover ratio, because those are two main factors. That was a major emphasis coming out of how can we improve from 21 and 22 as far as how we want our team to look. So, and I think if we just keep playing to that productivity outlook and stay our play style, discipline, all the other things we all need to do to win. We play our game, we will win. We all have great confidence in that.
And improving road cadence, what goes into that?
Including what?
Improving on road cadence.
Yeah. Well, it's a different cadence. So. Hey, you have way too much information on a 2.3. I'm done. Okay, I am tapped out. So we got big games in front of us. So.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. Talk about the passing game last night. How would you assess where you are in the running game right now?
Oh, I thought we were better. I thought that just the inside zone was something that we needed to get going. You guys watched the tape already. That was evident. The tight inside zone was good. The variations that come off of that. Had a couple of run solutions throws that were productive. So I thought the run blocking unit graded out well. They had a winning grade. So I thought we took a step there.
How much some of that is we gotta run more in this.
Oh yeah, I think attempts is probably if you want to get into statistical, what's more important. I mean, it's just like anything. Because I mean, hey, if you're running the ball over 30 times, there's a lot of good things going on. So and I think obviously, I mean, their defensive line we have a tremendous amount of respect for. So that was definitely part of the outlook of how we wanted to play.
Jeff.
That's Navarro's Coach, can you talk about Tyler Smith and just the confidence that you've built from last year to this year? It seems like a totally different guy when you talked to him in the locker room compared to last year.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I think Tyler, man, what a joy he is. To coach and just his approach. And there's 2 or 3 plays in the coaching sessions every week that he just does something. You just go, you shake your head. And the matchups, that he had last night, So yes, he's got so much, great football in front of him, because he's still learning, he's still getting comfortable with the footwork, and it's just great to see him and Tyron playing next to each other now, week in and week out, because it obviously wasn't like it at the start of the season. So very, very, very pleased with the way he's playing.
Skyler Dixon with the AP. Is it easy to keep Brandon's field goal streak out of your mind when you send him out there for those super long?
Well, I'm not thinking about statistics when I'm making those decisions. Yeah, so no, we were a little deeper than we wanted to be there, but I just think it shows the confidence we all have in them. So.
Tom.
Mike, how did you guys come up with the Tyron plan of practice? How did that all come about?
I think you just got to trust your bartenders. I mean, no one knows Tyron better than Britt and his strength staff and so forth. I've had a chance to, the easiest guys to coach are the rookies and the young guys, because they're integrated. All they know is how we do things here. But you're talking about veteran players that have done it for a long time. I mean, you have to you know, you got to take all that into account. So, and I think when you get to, you know, a certain point in your career, I mean, these men know what they need to be ready for a game, and that's really defining what that is. And I think we just have a much better, clearer picture of what that is. And you know, it's worked out very well.
Because it's not like he's not practicing, but he's still doing a lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a shame you guys don't have more access, but I mean, if you could see, yeah, we're good. But no, yeah, he's working. No, I mean, I walked through the weight room Saturday morning. I mean, just to watch the way he was working Saturday morning in the weight room is, I think you'd be impressed.
Again, on the decision to have the 60-yard try for Aubrey in the first quarter, that's a big hallmark of confidence there. If he misses, falls at the 50-yard line early in the game, but still not in the balance.
Yeah.
Is that, how early in the season would you made that decision, that with the confidence level to be at the point it is now?
I probably would have made it easier earlier in the decision. You know, I think it's like anything. You got to understand the game you're in. You know, you got to have an outlook on when you're in the gray. You know, when you talk about those kind of decisions, you know, which way you're going to lean each week. You know, that could adjust as the game's going on. That's, to me, is all part of the ebb and flow. Every game has an ebb and flow to it. I mean, there's always moments in a game that you've been there before, you've done it, something very similar, but the order in which they come is never the same. I mean, that's why every game is different. So, so those momentum opportunities, you know, you got to have confidence to taking those swings, and that's what that was. You know, so I was very focused on, you know, doing everything we can from a decision-making perspective to get the lead in that game. You know, I just felt confident that if we can get out in front, which is captain obvious, you always want to be out in front, but I just think it, you know, potentially makes the opponent play a little differently, and I thought it served us well.
And there have been a lot of big plays offensively this season where you look and a blitz pickup by a running back is a common thread. For you, you've talked a lot about what you ask of your running backs this year, protection. How much of this is a fabric of your offense where you're going to need that out of your backfield?
Oh, I mean, it's a huge part of it. I mean, if you look at just from a terminology and technique and fundamental change, the protection, you know, system's the biggest change. You know, the ability to have proactive and reactive solutions to defensive pressures and things. Just, you know, we've asked our guys to do a lot more, and I think if Dak was standing here, he would tell you about the pocket and the platform that he has to throw off of, and the difference. And it's a philosophy. You know, like I said, there's usually two ways of doing it. Not that ours is right and the last one was wrong, but this is what we believe in, and I think our guys, you know, the volume of it at first is, you know, okay, especially when you can't put pads on until August or July. So, but you know, I think that's part of, you know, sometimes it takes a little longer to get those things going with blitz pickups. That's why I think 9-on-7 drills and blitz pickup drills, you know, you can't do enough of them in training camp because that's the stuff that you don't get. And then, you know, but I just think you're seeing our guys more comfortable. I mean, their instincts and awareness and the identification. I've been super impressed with the running backs from day one. I mean, they picked the scheme part of it up very well. But you got to practice it at full speed.
Last one, Calvin.
At this time of year, are you more with your group playoff scenarios, or hey, we get 10, 11 wins, we're good? Let's just find out later.
I don't think like that. I mean, I don't even know how to talk that way. You know, just want to beat Buffalo. You know, beat Buffalo, get to 11 wins, and I think, you know, and let's be honest. I mean, there's so much that's written about it. Our guys are in tune with what's going on, you know, around the football team. So I don't spend a whole lot of time. And I've worked at places where they do the scenarios and the team meetings and everything. I just don't know I don't know how that helps us win the next game. You know, so I mean I don't spend a whole lot of time on it.
All righty.
Good. Thank you.